Welcome back to the Non-Fraternal Twins podcast. This is episode 12, Being Skinny Fat. And this podcast idea was brought to you by my co-host, Alicia. So I will let her take lead on this and I will chime in where need be. Give her a round of applause. This is a tough subject. Floor is yours, Alicia.
All right, thanks. Welcome, fellow listeners. So this is a hard topic to talk about as I am a fellow skinny fat person. Now, I don't know what other words to call it, but it boils down to just that. Now, I'm 32 and I'm 5'9", so I would describe myself as I'm skinny. But the only place I am fat in, where my fat struggles lay, are my stomach area. And now I've had 2 kids. I had a kid 4 years ago. And the pandemic has been hard. I don't know what we're in now, but you know what I'm talking about, when we was on lockdown, like when the whole world was on lockdown. So, but I've had a, little belly after my second child. And, I work here, and I'm talking about like not work out. I'm talking about like having like a job. I would have that, or like do schooling either in person / online. And I never really put the time in so much focused on working out. When I did work out, it was like a fad for like that week, and then it would die off. And then I would continue back into my horrible bad habit of just eating and doing what I normally do as a mom / working mom, or whatever the case may be. And then during the pandemic, when everything's a lockdown, DoorDash was my friend when I wasn't cooking, and things being delivered to the house and whatnot from different stores. Also my best friend. So you just like eat and snack, like all the time. So after after lockdown, like now looking at my body, I'm like, oh my God.
What have I become?
What happened? I didn't look like this before. And I always told myself, like, obviously I knew the older you get, the more your metabolism slows down as you get older. But because I've always been skinny my entire life. Before having kids, like I was a toothpick. So when I had kids, that put a little bit of meat on my bones, just a little, and especially the stomach area. So I never saw myself as where I'm at now. Sometimes I feel like I'm on the 600 pound, like, oh my, like that's obviously extreme. I'm nowhere near that. I'm just saying, like,
y'all
that.
I just the same foods.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, I be watching that show and be like, and be like, now how could you get there? But I do the same thing. I sit on my bed or couch or whatever, put Netflix on or whatever whatever streaming thing, and just be snacking and eating away. And then, next thing you know, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I get on the scale, like, I have never been this weight before in my life. Like, so disrespectful. So I consider myself, like, skinny fat, because I'm skinny, except my stomach. Like, I'm skinny everywhere else except my stomach. Now, Brianna, do you see yourself? Now, Brianna's body is different from mine.
How would you describe my body?
She looks like a Pocahontas that has an OnlyFans. That looks like...
Now they really gonna be tuning in. Like, hold up. Let me find her Instagram.
Her Instagram tag? No kidding. So yeah, no, Brianna.
She got a John Smith.
She currently is looking for a John Smith.
It don't gotta be a white John Smith.
Yeah, it could be whatever. Like, as long as it's a whole man, though. Like, that's important.
Right, yeah.
Okay? We ain't trying to do all that trickery and everything like that.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Yeah, don't scam me.
Don't scam her. Okay? Don't catfish her. Don't do that. But yeah.
This ain't about me, it's about her.
So Brianna's body is more like, like Pocahontas with the OnlyFans account. So, or an IG model or whatever the case is. But
thick.
My body, yeah, she thick, thick. Or am I saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. And my body's different. Okay. So, I don't think she would consider herself skinny fat. She just thick. That's just what it is. She thick. I think the only part of my body that I would say is thick is just my thighs. Mm-hmm. I think that's the only part of my body that's just thick. It's just my thighs. And that's it. Fat stomach, thick thighs, and
pretty face.
And a pretty face. So, that's about it. And I feel some type of way when I mentioned, like, especially after I had my second child. And I'm like, oh, I hate my stomach, whatever. And then other people who are, maybe a little bit bigger than me or whatever, they're like, girl, please, I wish I was your size. And I'm like, they just kind of disregard my feelings about how I feel about my body. Instead of taking it from my perspective, looking it through my eyes and be like, I've never been this weight before. I never had a fupa, if you will. I've never. So I'm like, I'm just trying to adjust to this new body. Now, obviously, the way to get rid of it is eating better and exercise, like, obviously, and drinking more water. Like, I know the steps to do it.
Let's not talk about the health aspects, because we can get into
No, I'm just saying the listeners might be like, if you don't like your body, then change it.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is me, and I'm the person I'm more of like a laid back. I hate to use the word lazy, but I'm just gonna be truthful. I'm a little lazy because I mean, right as of right now, I feel like I have a full plate. Taking care of the house. I take the kids to and from school. I'm still a student. I got virtual classes and whatnot I need to attend to. Studying, cooking dinner. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom as of right now, so I'm doing I got a full plate. Like, my day is full from morning to night. So I feel like I don't have... Now, I can fit in the time. I just choose not to. So that is my fault. It's not like it's not something that I have a hard time changing. I know the right steps to do so. But my fear is because I've heard other people say, like, you only have a certain window after having a baby to, like, really lose the weight, like, fast. But if you wait for a long time, it's going to be harder for that person to lose that baby fat or lose the weight, whatever. So it's like baby fat mixed with pandemic fat. And I don't even know, like how do I deal with it? But
doable.
It is doable. It is doable. So I have to really change my mindset and be determined and have that willpower to do so. So it falls on me. I'm not, putting any blame on anything else. I'm just saying, I don't blame the pandemic because I'm the one who called to eat and whatnot. But I'm just saying that when I explain my feelings about my body, I just feel like I get dismissed because I appear skinny, or I guess if anybody sees me, they're like, oh yeah, she's skinny, which I am, but it's just like my stomach area. Like, I just haven't, I've been skinny for so long, except for the past 4 or 5 years. That it's gotten. And now that after the pandemic, I look at my mirror, I weigh myself, and I'm like, I've never been this weight before. I've never looked like this before. So, certain people, I should say, dismiss my feelings about my body when they're valid feelings. So, like, is there anybody else? If there's anybody else that is skinny, but just like the only issue, the only area is your stomach, let me know, email me, or whatever the case is. Or sometimes, when a woman has a baby and the breastfeed, because I breastfed both my kids, so you're going to have stretch marks, or you're going to have wrinkles on your breast, obviously your stomach, around, your hips, thighs, all that type of stuff. It's going to be all wrinkly and stretched out. That's just natural. That's just how it goes. So that comes with the territory. And that a natural body is a beautiful body. So there's no shame, because some women feel like they had to get plastic surgery to which is that's also fine too. Because I even consider that. I don't like mess with surgery and everything like that when it puts you under, because I'm like it makes me a little nervous and whatnot. But if you want that, if you want to get a boob job, because those kids suck the life out of you. They suck the life out of you. I had a nice cup size after my kids. I'm like, this is what I gotta work with. So, but anywho, that's just how my body is after having kids, after pandemic, and me being lazy. And I don't like what I see, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting down to. I don't like what I see. I need to put a plan in place to, and you can do something small, like 10 minutes a day. Start small, 15, 20, and then kind of increase it, whatever. But, I really just gotta stop making excuses, stop complaining about the issue, and fix the problem. Because it's up to me. It's my body at the end of the day, so it's up to me. But I wish it would come off naturally, if I could just snap my fingers and it just come off. But yeah. Anybody else that's skinny fat? Because I'm like, this has got to be a topic that's just not talked about. It's just, you always have a topic of being obese, or they also, and you know what? They also talk about body positivity. And I'm like,
it only works in the direction of those who have a higher BMI. But
right.
That's the only way that movement is geared towards.
Yeah, because if you look at my body, would you say, ooh, body?
No, because
dang!
No, I'm being for real. As someone who is majoring in nutrition,
yes.
That is a graduate degree. That is
okay. So okay, you see
studying
how
to become a dietitian. That we did talk about that unit about inclusivity, body inclusivity. And
so if you see my body, you'd be like, that is not positive at all.
I wouldn't say that.
You would think it.
No, I wouldn't think it either. Because my thing is, when we went over that whole unit, it was geared, like I said, to more individuals with a higher BMI. Very seldom, or not at all, did it even cover individuals who were thin or anorexic, or because that's body positivity too. If we're going to go to the high extreme, which is a high BMI, and celebrate that, why can't we go to the other extreme of being super skinny?
Well, I think it's a certain BMI, because we can't be, because why would there be
it's anything.
Well, no, why would it be a show called 600 Pound Life? We're making fun. We're not making fun. Well, the public's making fun, but she's
making fun because she said that.
No, the show is geared towards, to show the person's story on how they, went from point A to point B, or whatever the case. But I'm like, obviously the public looks at it through comical lens.
Of course.
But I'm just saying, like, that show is not showing body positivity. That shows you're obese, this is a medical issue, and here are the steps to fix it. Now, I wouldn't say that looking at anorexia or whatever, or your eating disorder, is body positivity either, because that's also a medical condition that needs to be addressed and fixed. So I think both ends of the spectrum are medical conditions. Well, yeah. What's in the middle, I guess, could be somewhere in the lines, quote unquote, body positivity, if you will.
Yeah.
When you're in the health range. When you're in the health range. Anything in the health range, sure, whatever, body positivity. But when you're outside the health range, no, boo-boo, that's not body positivity. You got X amount of time to live.
and that's where the whole movement is. And I agree with you in the sense of, but that's what the movement is. It's more so geared toward individuals with a higher BMI, and we're celebrating that, be happy in your weight. You know what I mean? Yeah. The whole premise, from my understanding, is not to stay in that weight. It's to celebrate that weight. But like you just alluded to, which is why I don't think body positivity is that beneficial or helpful, in my opinion, because they do disregard those on the other side of the spectrum. Because you're right. Why would we celebrate someone who's super thin and unhealthy, essentially? Why would we celebrate someone who has a higher BMI and is essentially unhealthy? You know what I mean? Why are we saying that's body positivity?
Well, you know what? It's probably because, before all this body positivity, models, they are forced to be, a pinky size thin. And because that was glorified as, oh, that's pretty, that's beautiful. Even in all media, magazines, billboards, TV, movies, if you're a skinny female, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're the one who's wanted, this and a third. Anything outside of that, you're not beautiful.
Yeah, ugly,
so since we've come way past, especially like Victoria's Secret models and this and that, yada yada yada. Since we're out of that mindset, and we kind of took over the media, if you will, as like that's not the only body that's beautiful. That's where it comes to this body positivity, where like everybody else, all types of bodies are body,
and yeah, that's
positive
exactly, yeah.
So I think that's where that stems from, is because it was only just skinny girls,
right?
But now we broke that mold. Well, not we, the public broke that mold. Whoever broke the mold, and was like, okay, all bodies are beautiful,
accepted and included,
right?
And let's highlight these bodies because
but only in the health, in my opinion, only in the health range.
Right.
Because we're not going to glorify somebody who's like 800 pounds. I'm not glorifying you. You passed,
Yeah, and I just think, I think that's where it gets tricky on that whole body positivity thing. Because I'm like, yes, you should love your body. Even if you are someone who has a higher BMI, you should love yourself. But I don't think you should stay there and be like, oh, well, body positivity, I can go eat a cheeseburger, eat how I want to eat, and live how I want to live. And that's probably unhealthy for me. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's body positivity.
No, that's what
I think what body positivity is, hey, you have a higher BMI, you love yourself, and you want to do better. And the fact that you want to lose weight, that is body positivity. That's showing you love your body, you love yourself, because you know that being at a higher BMI is not beneficial for you. You're not going to have a long, healthy life. That is what I consider body positivity.
Yeah.
Not staying there and being like, well, I'm big.
No.
That's just what it is.
Yeah. But you can't stay there because you're forever just increasing your weight. It doesn't go backwards. It's only forever increasing. Unless you put a placement plan if you're working out.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
or, depending on what your lifestyle is. But you can be big, and as long as you have a lifestyle that is healthy and you're able to function and this and that, as long as you're in a healthy range, you can be big and be healthy. Like
you can obviously you can be big and be healthy too. So don't get confused.
We're not
with
saying that all big is just horrible.
No, you can be big and be healthy at the same time. Right.
And not everybody, you can't look at somebody who's like skinny and be like, oh, they're like healthy. That's like, no, that's not the case either.
That's not the standard.
Because I've had I struggled with anemia since I was 12 or whatever. Because like I said before, I've been paper thin. Well, dang. Okay, I've been like pinky size thin or whatever. I've been sticks. Okay, for the majority of my life. So, what's it called? But I've, somebody, well, maybe not. That's a lie. I guess maybe in my mind, maybe people thought like, oh, I was healthy. Because you kind of equate that. I don't know if it's because of the media or whatever the case is, but you kind of equate beauty and health to somebody who's skinny.
Of course,
yeah. And that's far from the truth, because people thought I had eating disorder. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I just didn't like to eat. Well, no, that's weird to say.
But that's what that is. I'm like, yeah, she kind of did have an eating disorder.
I don't know but there's not a term for that. Maybe because there's not a term for that. I don't know. It's not like I wasn't eating. I didn't reject eating or anything. I just chose what I wanted to eat and when I wanted to eat and what I wanted to eat.
You were just a very picky eater.
I was just a super, super picky eater. So people have just assumed that I had a eating disorder. But all the doctors I went to, checkups and everything, nobody said anything different. Even when I was a baby, I didn't eat. And the doctor said that, they're like, oh, she'll eat when she's hungry. So literally since birth to, up to 12 years ago, I struggled with, I didn't struggle. I don't know what you call it. I was just super picky eater.
Yeah,
I just eat what I want to eat. Mm-hmm. And that's just what it was. But I struggle with anemia on and off. So, you just can't look at me and be like, well, before babies and stuff like that. In my skinny body, whatever, flat stomach, this, that, and third, yada, yada. You just, if you looked at me, you might be like, oh, yeah, she's healthy and this. I'm like, no, that's far from the truth. Mm-hmm. And I can't look at a big person and say that they're unhealthy because that's far from the truth.
Yeah, you have to understand
that. So you have to look at a person.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, you have to look at a person like, on a personal level. Mm-hmm. You just can't look at a person and just assume. You can't judge a book by its cover. Mm-hmm. So there's no one type of body that equates health. Mm-mm. That's not the truth anymore.
No.
So, but anyway, as of right now, that's where I'm at. I'm skinny fat. I don't know if there's any other skinny fat people, because you're either skinny or you're fat or you're thick or whatever the case is.
It's not a spectrum as one would hope.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know where on the spectrum I fall, but I call it skinny fat.
Yeah, hence the title of this episode.
Yeah. I'm not thick. I ain't thick like Brianna, but I'm skinny fat. So
I got the names.
That Brianna got the, like I said, you better find her on Instagram or something like that. If if you in the United States, she ain't trying she ain't trying to do the 90-day fiance.
Shout out episode 9 and 10 Raven on the podcast.
Yeah, she trying to do 90-day fiance.
If you haven't watched that, please go watch episode 9 and 10.
Yes.
Our guest Raven. It's an absolutely hilarious podcast we did with her.
Yeah.
Please go watch that, and if you watch it, let us know if you want to do a part 2.
Yes. But do you guys, let me know if you guys struggle with, your body, how it looks. What would you change if you had if you were determined to do so? Or the time. Maybe, I don't know, everybody got a different lifestyle. Maybe you just don't have the time. Because you got kids, you work a full-time job, or whatever the case is. Man or woman. I'm not just speaking just only to women. Because men can have body issues or whatever the case is too. Whoever you are. Just let me know if you also kind of deal with, like, how your body looks, if you're upset with it, or if you're like, I'm fine with it, it is what it is. Because right now I'm like, it is what it is. But I'm also like, because I look at other, IG or TikTok, internet famous people, if you will, whatever. And I'd be like, and they have kids. I'm talking about the ones who have like 2+ kids. And they got flat stomachs. And I'm like, if I just had the daggone willpower and determination, I too can look like that. Mm-hmm. But it's like, again, it falls on me. It falls on you to change how you want to look. Whether that be, surgery or literally working out. Or both, whatever the case is. And if you're going to do surgery, make sure it's by a licensed, trusted person. Don't be going to these weirdos or out of the country. Don't do that.
I also want to make note, too, that yes, it's on you, but you kind of want to make it geared toward everyone. Like not everyone has access to information in regards to eating right and properly. Not a lot of people have that access to, like, okay, well, what do I eat? Or, well, what do I work out? So I recommend going to
certain YouTubers.
You have to be very careful. Yeah. I recommend going to a dietitian because that's what they specialize in. Or personal trainer. Go to the gym and find a personal trainer. You know what I mean? If you don't have the resources for any of that, everyone has internet connection. If you don't have internet connection, go to a library. Just like try to do things. Like do sit-ups. Crunches, do small things at the house. If you don't have transportation access to that, push-ups, sit-ups, you know what I mean? Like do as much as you can a day.
Planks, walking, running. You can walk or run up the stairs if you have that, or you can just do stuff that's inside the house, because that's what people were doing during the pandemic when the whole world was on lockdown. They kind of turned their house into their own little gym. So you can use literally whatever you have. You don't have to necessarily have, gym type accessories. So, yeah, that's true. Everybody's different though. So, if you have YouTube or something like that, make sure you're looking at the right people though. Yeah. Look through the comments and just see. because that kind of tells as well. Like, people be like, oh, this ain't right, or whatever.
Yeah.
If there's more negative comments than good, then I'd try to find somebody else. But people should know, like, you know, your basic workout.
Yeah, so like
forms.
your basic workouts, you know.
So, you know, and do small. Do small and start off that way and work your way up. But it's the little things like that. Just change little things. I need to take my own advice. Drink plenty of water, because that obviously helps. I also heard that stop eating after a certain time. Like before, is it an hour or 2 hours before you go to bed or something like that?
I don't know if that's true, honestly. I think
that's what I heard, and people have done it and they lost weight. I've seen it through media.
So if you stop eating, I'm trying to logically reason.
If you stop eating, like, okay, if you're going to bed at like 10, stop eating at like 8 or 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. If you're going to bed at 10 p.m. and then
that
you can
seems like
eat
you're
again.
doing some type of intermittent fasting.
Well, that works though, because
intermittent fasting. Well,
yeah, do that.
Fasting. That's what that sounds like to me. Not just stopping at a magical time and you're going to lose weight.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you know, because if you, what's it called? If you're eating after, you know, in the bedtime hours, like 12, 11, 12, 1, whatever, and you're eating, snacking, or whatever the case is, and you go to sleep, your body is not going to, you're not doing anything productive. You're just sleeping. So that's just kind of sitting in your stomach, and then it kind of turns into belly fat. Versus when you're eating something and then you...
Well, your body processes that, though. Like, your body, when you eat something, it goes through all these different type of digestion. So it goes through the starch digestion, the protein digestion, the lipid digestion, and then it goes to the absorption. So when you eat something, your body does digest it. Even when you are asleep, your body doesn't just stop working when it's asleep.
Well, no, I know. I'm just saying, you're not working it off, is what I'm saying. Like, you're not physically moving.
Well, yeah, because you're asleep, but...
Right.
Your body does digest and...
Well, I didn't mean like, you know, your body just stops everything and like... But I was saying on the more lines of you're not physically, you know, active when you're sleeping. So I just kind of... because I don't do nothing.
But you do burn calories when you sleep too, so...
there's a tidbit.
I have a watch. I think I was a Fitbit watch, and... You do burn some calories when you sleep.
I guess people move when they're asleep, though. But I'm like, how much? It can't be much, though.
It was when I had a Fitbit, and I saw that I was burning calories or something like that. But that was a long time ago.
Well, yeah. But it can't be by much if you're just sleeping, though. I mean, people would be tossing and turning and stuff, unless you're a sleepwalker. But, could you imagine? Could you imagine you're sleeping and then... Like, you wake up in, like, your neighborhood with jogging shoes on and you just ran, like, 3 miles. Here? You ran 3 miles and, like, like, what? That would be hilarious if your body was working out.
But think about it, though. Like, when you eat something during the daytime, you're just sitting around.
Well, I guess that's true.
You're just sitting around.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're just sitting around. So when people say this magical number, I'm like, you're just sitting around watching TV anyway, watching Netflix.
Oh, dang.
When you lay in bed.
Disregard what I said.
Well, that's because that whole argument doesn't make sense to me in my head. I'm just trying to reason it through. That doesn't make sense to me. Stopping at a magical number.
That's what
doing proper intermittent fasting, that will obviously cause you to lose weight.
Yeah.
If you eat the right foods. If you're working out, yes, of course. But stopping at a random number like 11 o'clock and then eating whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to work. Your body's going to be like, oh, dang, she got us. She figured it out. 11 o'clock is the answer. Like, that's not how it works.
I'm going to do a trial run. I can't. Drat, she's on to us. Rats.
That's not how it works.
I can't. I mean, I guess so, like, okay, if you eat like a whole, like, if you eat like 2 slices of cake before bed, like,
you might be a little up because of sugar
versus like celery. I don't know, 4 pieces of celery.
Well, that's just like water.
Whatever, I don't know.
Celery's nasty.
It is nasty.
Who eats celery before bed? It gets all in your teeth.
I don't know. Why would you do that? Or cherry tomatoes, like something random. Like,
it's weird. Like, who eats cherry tomatoes for fun?
I don't know. Because they're in those vegetable platters. and it'd be in there. But I'm like, who's
nobody
eating
eats
that?
Nobody
yeah,
eats cherry
I was like,
tomatoes
who
in their
eats cherry
salad.
tomatoes like that?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, ew. I don't know.
So yeah, I hope that helped you reason through some of the fallacies.
This
This
started off as skinny fat, and we got to all this other stuff. I don't even know. But
yeah, skinny fat is the topic. You know us, we branch off into other topics.
We do branch off, but it all dealt with health at the end of the day.
Yeah, it all
dealt with health. But you know, at the end of the day, just fine if you have the resources, just talk to a licensed dietitian. YouTube, what's it called? Reading trustworthy, reliable sites or articles or whatever. And then just do basic stuff at home or in the gym or whatever. And obviously drink plenty of water. Like, that's your number one friend, is drinking plenty of water. That's not going to steer you wrong. So, and intermittent fasting is also your friend. So, do that.
Let's not go recommending diets here.
It's not a diet. I'm just saying. Like, well, fine. You do that in your sleep anyway. When you sleep, you're fasting. So, whatever. Sorry about that. If you heard a knock, it was one of my kids. I had a phone call. But, anywho, that is, I think that's where we're going to leave it at. And, you can also find some encouragement with a family or friend or somebody else. If it's hard to do it by yourself, which I find it's hard to do by myself, find a partner that was willing to work out with you and, to kind of change your lifestyle to a little bit healthier lifestyle, and just get to where you, are a little bit happier with your body, because if you don't like what you see, you are in charge of changing that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where we left it. Any type of, nutritional or health advice I gave. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician. I'm not a nurse. I don't work nowhere near the healthcare, except Brianna, who is studying dietetics, and she's in her master's right now. So she is more prone. You can listen to her because she's in her master's right now. So listen to Brianna. Don't listen to me. I'm not licensed or nothing.
You can give basic advice.
I can give basic advice. I'm just saying, I don't want to be like Alicia said. I'm like, wait a minute now. You do that at your own risk, okay? You do that at your own risk. But no, this is just basic information that everybody knows. Like, I mean, honestly,
you should work out. You should eat vegetables. You should eat
right,
stuff like that.
Like this basic stuff. But if you're trying to get to the more expertise, whatever, find somebody who got
find somebody that's actually licensed.
Right, exactly. That's all that is. So, we love you. Love your body and everything like that. And, what's it called? And that's that. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to start changing like I always say every 3 months. I'm going to start changing and see how far I get. But I love y'all. Thank you for listening. And make sure you email me about your opinions, your thoughts, if you're in the same boat as me. Or if you have some advice for me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's that. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
Bye.